Have you ever spent hours ruminating and trying to think your way into the perfect decision, and you're trying to think 10 steps ahead in every direction, and you're trying to come up with a plan with perfect details, or maybe you're even ruminating on conversations you had in the past so that you don't experience those same conversations in the future. But despite all this effort that you're putting into overthinking, you're still just staying stuck in place. And most people believe that overthinking is just a bad habit, but what if I told you that overthinking is one of the biggest reasons you're not reaching your full potential? And that's because every ounce of energy that you spend overthinking is energy that you're not spending on actually changing your life and moving the needle forward with your goals. But once you understand the deeper root cause of why you're overthinking, it becomes so much easier to work with that root cause and to stop overthinking for good. So the actual cost of your overthinking is that it pulls energy away from things that you have leverage over, and it puts your energy and focus on things that you don't actually have leverage over. And one of the things that's important to note about overthinking is that overthinking either happens about the past or the future, and we don't have control over the past or the future. We only have control and leverage right here in the present moment. And you have a limited amount of bandwidth. Your battery is not infinite. And so when you go putting all of that effort into trying to change the past and predict and control the future, what you're doing is you're basically just pouring all of your energy and potential into a black hole. And overthinking is a lot like spinning your wheels and getting no traction, but you just keep trying and trying and trying, and you just waste all the gas in your car. Or maybe eventually you spin the wheels so long that the engine in the car just totally burns out. And if you're doing this, you simply cannot work to your full potential because you're draining your battery every single day. But if you stop overthinking, you get to recoup your energy, and you get to be judicious about that energy, only directing it towards things that you actually have control over in the present moment. And when you stop spreading yourself thin and you bring your energy back to yourself and you direct it only towards the leverage points that you have, that's when you can start moving the needle towards changing your life in the direction you really want to change it and making a better life for yourself. So your tendency to overthink is costing you a lot, but what actually causes you to overthink in the first place? Like I said, whenever you're overthinking, you're either trying to control the future or control the past, and neither of those do you have control over. And oftentimes it's like we can spin our wheels trying to control other things that aren't in our own control as well. But if we go one level deeper, the reason why we're trying to control the future and the past and all those other uncontrollable things is because we're trying to prevent specific unwanted scenarios from happening. For example, maybe I overthink and overplan when I'm going to travel somewhere because I'm really terrified of getting lost. And so really all of the overthinking and overplanning is to try to prevent me from getting lost. Or let's say that I'm the type of person that wants to plan out every single moment of every single day, and a big part of it is about avoiding judgment of others, right? It's like, okay, if I can plan every single moment of every single day, I can make sure that I micromanage my own behaviors so as to avoid other people judging me. And so in that case, the reason why I'm overthinking and ruminating is to avoid judgment. And those are just a couple of examples, but that's the one layer down explanation. But if we go a layer down still, down to the deeper root cause, there's a trust issue that's there. It's I don't trust myself to be able to cope with it or to respond to it well if those negative circumstances come about. For example, if I take the judgment example that I just used, it's like on some level, if I'm so afraid of judgment, there must be some part of me that believes that I can't handle judgment or that I won't be able to cope with it in some way. So at the top level, overthinking is about trying to control circumstances outside of our control. At the one layer down, it's about trying to avoid unwanted circumstances, but at the root cause, it's, oh gosh, I cannot handle it if those unwanted circumstances arise. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to overthink and make sure that I can avoid them like the plague. And this is super important because once you know this, you actually know how to resolve your overthinking at the root. Now, if all of this is resonating with you so far and you want to learn more about how to overcome procrastination and self-sabotage, I highly recommend checking out my free webinar, 3 Shadow Work Secrets to Get Out of Your Own Way and Reach Your Full Potential Without Having to Fight Yourself. And the link is down below in the description box. I also have a link to an application down below if you would like to work one-on-one with me. So I'm going to give you a simple 4-step process for letting go of your tendency to overthink so that you can actually direct that energy towards things that move the needle for you. And so what the first thing you want to do is you want to become aware of really what it is that you're trying to avoid by overthinking. Is it that you're trying to avoid failure? Are you trying to avoid some kind of uncomfortable social situation? Are you trying to avoid rejection? Are you trying to avoid shame? For example, maybe John ruminates in order to try to control things more so that his business doesn't lose money, and because he is ultimately trying to avoid having to go back to working his 9 to 5. And so that's why he overthinks. Or maybe it's the case that Jim overthinks because he wants to avoid being judged by his parents and other people. And so he's always ruminating about how he can improve upon past conversations. And so he's always going back to past conversations that didn't go well. And he's always thinking about how he's going to present himself off in the future. And so you have to answer that question for you. What is your reason for overthinking? What are the unwanted circumstances or feeling states you're trying to avoid by overthinking? Now, the second step, once you know why you're overthinking, is to look for beliefs about your own capacity to handle those particular negative circumstances you're trying to avoid. What do you believe about your capacity to cope with or to handle experiencing those kinds of situations? What are your beliefs about your ability to respond to them in a positive way that leads to positive outcomes? Do you believe that you can turn your losses into a win, or do you believe that you're just stuck with the losses? And once you've compiled this list of different beliefs about yourself and how much you trust yourself to be able to handle those unwanted circumstances, you want to look down deeper to the roots of where those beliefs come from, and you want to actually start working through and letting go of those beliefs. And instead, you want to start believing beliefs that reflect a higher sense of self-trust, like, I trust myself to be able to handle any situation that arises. I can handle any feeling state that comes up for me. Or if something negative happens, I can easily turn that into a positive situation. Or if I experience a loss, I can grieve that loss and let go, and my life will be okay afterward. And those are just a few examples, but you want to take those limiting beliefs of I can't handle this, and you want to turn those into I can handle this beliefs. And the fourth step in this process is to seek out evidence of those new beliefs. Continue to affirm to yourself that you can handle difficult things, you can get through difficult situations, you can respond to them well. Identify yourself as somebody who is highly resilient and capable of handling things. And you want to look for evidence of that. You want to, let's say, collect more and more evidence. And when you do that, what ends up happening is that it shifts the dynamic to where you don't need to ruminate anymore because you just trust yourself. And you're just able to flow with the circumstances without trying to control everything. Now, when it comes to letting go of the limiting beliefs that stop you from trusting yourself, sometimes that can be a bit tricky because some of those beliefs are actually serving a function for you. And so you would actually have to resolve the deeper function in order to let them go, to replace them with the more self-trusting beliefs. So if you want to learn more about how to let go of those limiting beliefs, I highly recommend checking out this video right here.